Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is The Patriot, a war film from 2000. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to rent on all the major streaming services. So go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Welcome to Screen Riot, the podcast where we review movies chosen entirely by fate. If you're having difficulties finding movies to watch, then this might be the podcast for you. I'm one of your hosts, Justin, and alongside me are co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And each week one of us spins the wheel of fate, and the host must pick any movie from that genre. If you'd like to see all the movies that we've reviewed so far and how they've ranked, visit ScreenRiot.net and have a look at the movie ratings page. At the end of each show, we'll spin the wheel again and to see what next week's movie is going to be so that you can follow along at home. And while you're at ScreenRiot.net, make sure you head over to the support page to see all of the different ways that you can help support the show, because we need it. So, like Kyle said earlier, the movie that we're taking a look at this week is The Patriot. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long, depending on what cut you're watching.
Yeah.
Because all of us, we all watched the extended take, basically.
Yeah, the extended cut, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was the theatrical, but that's 10 minutes longer than the theatrical.
Yeah, so that cut is 2 hours and 55 minutes.
Right, the extended cut, yeah.
But the theatrical cut is 2 hours and 45 minutes if you look it up on IMDb. But at any rate, it's rated R, and it was directed by Roland Emmerich. And if you're not familiar with the director, you probably actually are. He's kind of an action director from the 90s. He did Universal Soldier, 92, Stargate from 94, Independence Day, 96, Godzilla, 98, The Day After Tomorrow, 2004, 2012, the movie, 2009, White House Down, 2013, Independence Day Resurgence, 2016, which I've never seen. I think, John, you've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's okay.
He did, he has Moonfall, which is a new movie that's in post-production. It's supposed to come out next year,
Moonfall.
2022. Then he has a Stargate, another movie that's announced.
Like a rehash?
I'm not sure.
Never was
Okay.
a fan of Stargate.
That's the thing. I like Stargate. Independence Day, okay.
Oh, it's a fun movie.
Almost every other movie, fun, I'm with you. But almost every other movie on that list is like 3 for me. Or
Yeah.
lower. Like, I can't think of one thing on that list that I would be like, oh, you know what I need to do? I need to sit down and watch that movie. I can't think of one movie that 2012, John Cusack fucking dodging buildings somehow with a limousine. What the hell is happening in that movie?
It's believable.
No, it's not fucking
It's
believable. And then the whole time they're like, we're going to drive to the Arctic Circle in a limousine. What the fuck what is this movie? It doesn't make any sense.
He has all-terrain tires. It's
No,
fine.
it doesn't make sense. The movie's ridiculous.
Are you a fan of the Matthew Broderick Godzilla?
No, it's awful too. They put muscles on Godzilla. It's as bad as putting nipples on Batman. What the hell are these people thinking? To sit there and be like, Gojira. And then they put nipples on it and gave him biceps. What the? Not nipples, sorry. Biceps and it doesn't make sense.
Godzilla
Muscles.
was just in prison, okay?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looked like.
He got
doing
swole.
fucking
He got
pull-ups.
prison ripped.
Stupid. It was a stupid movie. And Universal Soldier, I'm sorry, what a dumbass movie as well. I got a great idea. Why don't we turn around and try and make this Vietnam War movie, but we're going to make it in the 90s, which means that everybody has to basically be reincarnated now. And
So
you got
what about-
Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. What a fucking cast that is.
So obviously,
Eddie's not a fan.
Roland Emmerich is not your greatest director.
I just think he makes movies like some people make dishes, like they make cuisine. You know, there's people who make
He just
nice,
puts parsley on everything.
It's not just that. No,
Oh.
it's like making dishes for the masses, for the lowest common denominator of people, for people who aren't thinking whatsoever, who don't give a shit what actually goes into their mouth, just that more of it goes into their mouth. That's what I think that these movies are.
Well, he has another movie that's announced called Maya Lord.
So Stargate
Yeah.
Is it good?
looks like
I do like Stargate.
Looks
though.
like a rehash.
Yeah.
Okay.
From what I can tell.
Stargate was good though because it actually had good characters. James Spader did a great job. Kurt Russell did a great job. Pretty much everybody in that movie actually did a pretty decent job, even though the timeline, the premise was a little flimsy. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie. You know, in more or less.
Right.
I liked it.
Well, The Patriot was in the Oscars in 2001. It was nominated for 3. It didn't win anything, but it was nominated for cinematography, original score, and best sound. So none of the acting or screenwriting or anything like that.
Surprised it got nominated for cinematography.
Why is that?
Well, I guess the I guess the editing part is what I'm kind of miffed about.
Yeah, more of the editing.
I guess it was more editing.
Well, you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
We'll just get
you
into
guys.
it.
You guys noticed that in this film there was a lot of jittery shots.
Yes.
That they tried to hold on a certain shot for longer than they shot it, and so in post when they shoot it at 24 frames, it's like, oh, it's really jittery when you try to stay on this one shot.
Yeah.
And they're always like emotional shots too. Mel Gibson, I think it was when after his
Thomas,
first
his
boy
son.
died. Yeah. So that's. Like I get you're trying to extend the emotion a little bit, but don't sacrifice the film
Right.
in that situation.
I agree with you completely. And I think they had the forethought, or the foresight, I should say, to be able to say, you know what, we want to use this emotional piece right here,
Yeah.
this emotional, action that's happening in this.
It's like
in
during the-
film, they should have done a better job of filming it in the first place.
During the actual filming, they probably said cut, and then they're like, oh man, we should have just kept rolling for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, but that's just shitty pre-production at
But
that point.
at the same time, they had slow-mo shots throughout the film
that
Yes.
were pre-planned.
that were
you could tell.
pre-planned
Yeah.
because they shot them in a
Because they
higher,
were shot, yeah.
higher frame rate.
Yeah.
And then they slowed them down and they looked great.
Yeah.
You know, the whole going into battle with the flag, that's all slow-mo, and that was shot on purpose.
Yeah,
like that.
Gabriel's and the Colonel Tavington,
Yes.
their epic fight,
Yep.
and then obviously Tavington and Mel Gibson.
And like when the Reverend throws up the gun,
Yeah,
that's
all
all
that.
in slow motion, and
Yeah.
that was meant to be in slow-mo.
Yeah, that was all pre-thought through.
Yeah.
But the first time I noticed it was when Thomas was killed. With one of the little, they have a shot of one of the little brothers, and he's crying.
Yes.
And it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and that was like, that was the first time, and then I was like, oh man, that was really jittery. And then once that happens, I start to look for it, and I'm like, oh, damn it, why did you do this?
And kind of breaking a little bit, but definitely attached to what you were just talking about. I didn't
Yeah.
realize exactly how much of this movie was slow motion, but you're right. There's a ton of slow motion
Yeah.
in this movie, which I'm not normally a fan of, but I don't really hate this movie either. That's really strange for me because you're 100% correct. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just it didn't seem to register with me how much slow motion there is.
Me
There's-
either. Not until this last watch.
There's slow motion probably every 12 minutes in this movie.
And I think
Probably.
every battle scene has at least one slow-mo
At least
shot.
one shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
The cannonball rolling through the guy. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a ton of slow motion in this,
Yeah.
actually. That's really funny. Like, I didn't think about that until just now. That's a good point. Very, very well thought out point.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in a lot of the parts, like I mentioned earlier, the Gabriel and Tavington, and then obviously, the big actors, the big conflicting scenes, but like the death scenes of like the minor characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
eh.
Shouldn't be slowed down for emotion, I don't think. Just cut and move on.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, the little girl who wouldn't speak,
Yes.
his daughter,
Yes.
fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
It brings me to tears every single time, like at the end when he's going away, and she finally says, Papa, don't leave,
Yeah.
I'll speak, and it's like, oh my God,
Oh, I know.
waterworks.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
totally forgot that scene was in this movie.
I knew it was coming, and I'm like, okay, here it comes.
Nope.
Here it comes.
Super heartbreaking.
She hit it out of
Okay.
the park. It was phenomenal.
Could like an intern look up to, like, has she been in anything else?
Sure.
And it was two
I'm
different
curious.
girls.
Oh,
too.
was it?
I think it was.
Let's
Because the girl that is in the house and they're like pointing out the North Star, wasn't that a different girl, a different little girl? Because I mean,
I
obviously
don't think
time has passed.
I mean, that's just one of the other daughters, right?
Yeah, but I mean, well, I think it's the one that doesn't speak.
It was Susan, right?
Yeah, Susan.
Yeah, it was Susan.
Nope. Same girl.
Is it the same girl?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if there was like young Susan,
Sky.
Susan.
McCole. Bartuzak. Bartuziak.
Okay.
John and your pronunciations.
Well, she passed away in 2014.
Oh, no way.
Born in 92, passed away in 2014.
Whoa,
That's depressing.
that is depressing.
Was she in anything else?
Yeah, she was in Don't Say a Word.
Oh,
That's right, she was in Don't Say a Word. Okay.
interesting.
Riding in Cars with Boys.
Oh,
She was Amelia, age 8.
oh,
That's crazy.
She has actually 42 credits to her name.
holy
wow.
cow!
Okay.
A lot
Well,
of
she
shorts,
wasn't that
some
old.
TV series.
Damn, that sucks. She was what, 22,
She's 21, yeah.
21?
She was in
Dang.
some episodes of Jag, Judging Amy, Frasier.
Oh, wow.
before the Patriot.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Well,
I just wanted to mention her. Like, it got me in the kicking the emotional balls.
yeah,
basically.
for sure.
I liked
Put on
her.
the feels.
I liked her. Okay, let me be clear. I definitely liked her. However, a lot of the characters in this movie are wooden as shit. Like Mel Gibson, when he has emotion in this movie, he has emotion in this movie. When he doesn't, he's a walking tin man. Like he's just like, I've got a family. Who will watch my family in my stead? Like
I didn't think it was wooden.
it was pretty wooden. Everybody was. I mean, even the guy who is the general, trying to
Cornwallis.
No, not
Tom
Cornwallis.
Wilkins?
Tom Wilkins. Even Tom Wilkins, like
Wilkinson.
Wilkinson, thank you.
He was Cornwallis.
Yeah.
Okay, so not Cornwallis.
Okay.
The guy who was the
Tavington, Colonel Tavington.
No, the guy who was the
I'm gonna go through every person
Chris
in the British
Cooper.
Army.
Chris
Continental,
Cooper.
the Continental
Cooper.
Army guy.
Chris
Cooper.
Chris Cooper. Yeah.
I've seen him in other stuff. He's been the dad. He was the dad in October Sky. He's been in a ton of stuff. He normally has a lot of emotion.
He's a good actor.
And in this, he comes across as fairly wooden. It's just
I don't
weird.
know. I thought Chris Cooper was fantastic for
Yeah.
what he had.
Don't get me wrong. He was better than most of the people in this movie because everyone else was walking around like they have a stick in their ass.
Well, let's think about the scenes that Chris Cooper is in. So the first time you meet him, he's delivering
He's in
that
that-
passionate
Speech in
plea,
the house. Yep.
right,
Right.
to the house, and then
On
I
the
think-
field,
yeah,
giving out the giving Gibson his field whatever the
Duties.
hell. Yeah. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of the name.
Commission.
Commission. Thank you, field commission.
yeah, and then the
he's
next time is the death of Mel Gibson's
son,
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yep. No, again, good actor in this. Did a good job overall. However, fairly wooden compared to his other performances. Another person though, just to point to real fast is I just had it. The
Cornwallis.
No.
Tavington.
In comparison, the French guy,
Oh, yeah.
the Frenchman,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
in
yeah.
comparison to him, because
Checky Carew.
Yeah, that's his real
Carot?
name.
he
Yeah.
acts like he's not. He doesn't even belong in the movie. He's loosey goosey, quote unquote, from the beginning that you meet him. He's completely just acting like a normal person. He's like, I'm French and I don't give a shit. The whole movie, right?
Yeah.
You
So-
killed my people.
Major
when you-
Villeneuve.
Yeah. So when you have him juxtaposed against the rest of these guys, they come across even more wooden. It's really strange. I just did not like that part. Go ahead.
Yeah, going back to Chris Cooper though, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Because when we first meet him and he's doing that speech about we need to go to war and all that stuff, right? That's a wooden man moment. I get that.
Yeah, you need to be steadfast.
But he was exactly the same when he tells Mel Gibson, "I'll help you bury him."
Yes.
He was there was no like friendship talk. Like if I'm standing in front of a group of people talking, I'm going to act differently than sitting here on a podcast with you guys.
Yeah, and let me be clear. I don't hate this movie. I actually like this movie, but
So we're looking at a 4.
don't
I
go too
love
high.
it.
No.
2.5.
But this is a flaw. I mean, it's just a flaw. Again, Heath Ledger to me does not come across as wooden. But then you look at the ant. The ant walks around the whole movie like she has a stick up her ass.
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with her.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Aunt Charlotte.
Cornwallis does a great job. Now, granted,
He's very charismatic.
He's very charismatic, but everyone else who underneath him, except for the crazy
Tavington,
Yeah,
except for him,
Jason Isaacs.
everybody else is just this backdrop 2D flat character.
I don't know. I liked his man, his assistant.
Oh, I don't know.
Is
It's
it
a very
Lieutenant?
nice horse blanket.
I liked
that
him.
bastard. Yeah,
I liked him.
You like him.
Our captured officer, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah,
You
that's
like him,
it.
but he's playing. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's playing a character, and he's playing a time period that we probably think of just like. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought the world used to be black and white because the movies were black and white. So he's playing a character that has to fit into this time period. But I just feel like instead of having them be real people, they were like caricatures of what we think these guys would have been like, as opposed
That's
to being
possible.
what they were really like. You know what I mean?
I just
George
saw-
Washington was another thing. George Washington, I mean, great, he doesn't talk, but when he walks through that thing, I'm like, he didn't say a fucking thing to anybody. He just walked through, and they were like, and nothing. There was no emotion. There
Wait,
was
George
no
Washington
feeling.
was in this?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a point whenever
He rode past.
whenever Heath Ledger is at Valley Forge and they're all freezing their nuts off and he's writing letters and he's like, "Dear Thomas, I believe that this winter will never end. Neither will the war." That guy, George Washington, is walking through and he's watching George Washington walk through.
Oh, I
Yeah.
totally missed it.
Dude, his teeth were hurting. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that because George Washington's teeth not fucking wooden, by the way.
I know.
So we're clear.
Yeah.
They were
His teeth were chattering.
no George
Yeah, they were
Washington's
gold.
teeth.
That's why he had to have fake teeth.
He did
because
have fake
he
teeth.
chattered them off.
But did you know this though that they weren't actually wood? Like I
Yes.
grew up learning that they were wood. And
He
they
had a
weren't
set of
fucking wood.
porcelain. He
They're
had a
porcelain.
set of bone.
True, and real human
and real
teeth.
other human teeth,
There's
yeah.
actually a big controversy because he probably, more than likely, I'm not 100% sure, but there's some ledgers that are a little questionable. He probably bought them from his slaves,
Right.
and he got them
I've
at a
heard that.
discount because they were his slaves. He's like, "Give me your teeth," and he ripped out their teeth and gave them a fucking
Just
quarter.
like that, all gangster.
Yeah.
Give me your teeth.
Give me your teeth.
homie, give me your teeth.
And then he turned around
Like,
and gave him a
jeez.
quarter. And in the ledger, they're like, he was a racist because he was stealing their teeth, and he should have given them
my God.
$35. And instead, he got all of his teeth for like $17.
Anyway,
I know.
thought-
I'm saying that there's people making that
No,
argument.
no,
His
I know.
rap name
Yeah.
is Little Washington.
I like it.
No,
like
Lil.
it.
Lil.
Not little.
That's
Lil.
what
I just
Sorry.
wish they would have. Again, I wish he would have been more of an actual character or an actual person. Same thing I'm saying about the British guys. I just wish they
Yeah.
had a little more liveliness to them.
I
As opposed to this
looked
very
at-
static.
I looked at
characters.
Chris Cooper as he
Who
was
Cooper again.
He was the Colonel Burwell. He was the
The guy that
one
gave Mel Gibson his orders.
Thank you.
And
very
Thank you.
Wooden
very
guy.
wooden.
Okay, I'm good.
I looked at that as he was always in uniform when we saw him.
True.
He was never in
He's
just
never in civilian.
day-to-day clothes.
skivvies.
He was always in uniform, so he probably had to have that front of, hey, I need to be, in the man in charge or whatever. Now, one scene though that I guess it was when Mel Gibson's character Benjamin Martin comes up to his tent and he was like, "Okay, I want to be under your command. What are my
Right.
orders?" He was asking Cooper like, "Hey, who's in command?"
Yeah,
And he's like, "Well, the general, he's probably halfway up to New York by now.
You're right.
And his people are chasing
He went
behind
AWOL,
him.
yeah.
And he looked distraught.
I agree.
Because I think that's the only time
Yes.
that you see him somewhat emotional.
with an emotion. I agree with you.
But the other times, yeah, he's
very
very
stoic and-
He's very militaristic.
that's a good point again. I agree
Yeah.
with you, and I do think that.
And I think he needs to be in that role as like a military commander.
Well, I
as
think it's-
he is a tree. Like he needs to be an oak. Like
I just wanted a
I'm
little.
strong.
I just wanted a little more separation between some of these characters because to me, some of them start to blend because they are so 2D, because they are so flat as characters that
Yeah.
you're like if I was to say to you, who all died in what scenes. There's characters. I mean, like I recognize Donald Logue, the racist who didn't like the slave, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you recognize him, but he actually put in kind of a decent performance for being a background character, for being somebody that I can't tell you his name. Like I don't know what his name
no,
was,
I
right? I
don't
just know
know.
him as the guy who hated the slave, and then the slave was like, "Just 6 more months."
That's right.
with the awesome
I'm
voice.
too old for this shit.
I love that guy's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He did a good job.
Yeah.
See,
But-
I like Leon Ripley.
Right? Is that who
That's
that
his
was?
name.
Leon
Rippy. Yeah.
Rippy,
John
yeah.
John Billings.
yes.
Oh, John Billings
John
did a great
Billings?
job.
Oh,
Yeah, he
yeah.
shot himself after his family died. Yeah, he did a great job. I liked him. He did a fantastic job.
That wasn't the
Wow.
first thing I would go to point to say I liked about him, but yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, that was his most emotional scene
Yes.
that he had
Yeah.
to do in
Well,
the
that
film.
and the beginning scene whenever you first meet him, and there's a couple scenes actually, but the one where the son is walking up, he's like, "I'm gonna kill me some redcoats," and
Yeah,
Mel
yeah.
Gibson's says, "I believe that you would," and he's like, "Yeah, his time will come." John Billings, what did as I live and wonder or whatever shit he says.
I figured I would see you here.
There
So
you
I was
go.
hoping I would
Yeah.
see you here. Yeah.
And then skip forward to the time whenever him and Mel Gibson are screwing around with the priest, and they're like, "I say we shoot the dogs, use the books for
Oh,
wadding or whatever, or eat the dogs."
dogs.
Eat the
Yeah, eat the
dogs.
dogs. And the preacher's like, "Eat the dogs," and he's like, "Oh, a dog is a good
good
meal." Yeah, and he's like, "Good heavens!" And he makes that little creepy laugh that he does. It's a good scene.
yeah.
I think my favorite character in this is Tavington. I'm a Jason Isaacs
Okay,
fan. I got a man crush on him.
he definitely pulls it off.
He does a great job at being a bad guy.
I agree.
Super good job of being a bad guy.
If we're picking, the favorite characters, I would have to go with Tom Wilkinson's Cornwallis. For me.
Well,
He did
yeah.
a phenomenal job.
I don't know. Jason Isaacs though, he's just a straight up badass.
I think I would go Billings.
I was just ready for him to. I was just ready. Yeah, I'm thinking Billings too, but I was just ready for Jason Isaacs to pull out a wand and start Harry Potter and people.
Was he in Harry
Holy
Potter?
shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, he's Lucius. He's Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah. He's Draco Malfoy's dad. I did not even connect those two.
And he was an awesome bad guy in Harry Potter.
He is. He's an ass.
Same guy.
Yeah,
he is the
He's
same
the
guy.
same exact guy in
One
the
of my
Patriot
favorite-
as he is in
Instead
Harry
of-
Potter.
He ran around killing kids.
Almost.
Yes, pretty
Yeah.
much. One of my favorite parts in Harry Potter with him, though, is whenever Harry. Spoiler alert, by the way, it happened 20 years ago. Is whenever
Wait,
Harry
which movie?
tricked him. Well, it's when Harry tricked him and gave Dobby his
sock.
freedom.
His
Oh,
sock,
his
yeah.
He's like, Master's giving Dobby some clues. That scene, that was great. It was a funny ass scene.
Oh my god.
And
Cost me my house.
yeah, House Elf.
House
Yeah,
Elf.
and the emotion
Yes,
that
he was
Jason
pissed.
Isaacs and the Harry Potter kid
Well, instead
with a
of-
CGI elf, the amount of things that they're able to pull off, I'm like, good
Well, the
job.
elf, disarms him.
Yeah,
You will not hurt Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Harry Potter.
Yes, he does. Dobby comes back and saves Harry Potter's ass like 15 times.
Yeah, I know. And what does he get for it?
Yeah, exactly.
A knife in the chest.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Anyway,
No,
yeah,
funny enough,
Jason
it is
Isaacs.
what it
in The
is.
Patriot, same shit happened to the preacher. He got a knife in the chest too for trying to save Heath Ledger. Or did he get shot?
He got shot.
Then who got knifed? Oh, Mel
Ledger.
Gibson. No, Mel Gibson got knifed.
Well,
At the end,
well,
he
yeah,
gets.
that's
He gets knifed and sworded, and he's
Yeah, the
everywhere.
thing though, the bayonet.
The
He gets
bayonet.
bayoneted whenever because Jason Isaacs takes and throws another guy into Mel Gibson, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight this guy." Then Jason Isaacs brings a bayonet underneath
No.
his arm. Yeah, he stabs Mel Gibson.
No, he doesn't.
No,
He slices him with a saber
yeah.
a couple times.
Well, who am I? Oh no, it is
Mel
It
Gibson.
is Heath Ledger.
Mel
You're
Gibson
right.
Yeah.
Yes,
actually
you're right.
uses the bayonet to go through Jason Isaacs' throat.
You're 100%.
Right,
No,
which
I'm
is
sorry.
incredible.
Which
I'm sorry.
is
I'm
a
getting the Heath
pretty
Ledger scene.
graphic scene.
I love
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Well, it's poetic justice.
Oh, absolutely.
Yo, fuck your mom.
Yeah.
Kill my kids.
I'm gonna stab you in the throat.
Hype is all about it. Heath Ledger, the Heath Ledger scene. Whenever he
Yes.
throws the guy into Heath Ledger, and then he comes up and knifes him underneath.
Which I
with
thought
Heath
that
Ledger.
scene.
You're right. I'm
I
sorry.
thought that scene was probably one of my favorites, just because everything about it is awesome. Because you get into the nitty gritty of Revolutionary War battle
Yes.
tactics.
Yeah.
Of it's swords, it's guns, but with the guns, I guess it was the Reverend and Tavington.
Tavington. Yeah, or Tav-
When they were reloading, Tavington's reloading his pistol.
Yep.
The Reverend's reloading his rifle, and and they're like staring at each other, reloading their guns, and we're like, okay, I'm going to shoot you. I just have to reload faster than you.
See, I don't
Right.
have. I don't have.
I'm just
going
gonna run over there and stab you. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm going to do.
which is awesome. I just
Well-
love the standoff.
Oh, the scene is phenomenal.
and they're like, okay, we're gonna shoot each other. Whoever wins,
I don't have
No.
the patience for
That's
that
why
shit,
you
though.
have a Mel Gibson hatchet that you can throw.
right?
That's right.
Well, okay.
And then hack to smithereens.
I do
Oh my
think
God.
the editing in that scene's a little screwed up. I don't think they're as close as they appear with the camera shots, because they kept doing a close up on the preacher and they kept doing a close up on Tavington. It seemed like they were right next to each other. They're not that close.
I would
No,
say
no,
they're probably
they're like-
They are. They're like right in front of each other.
You son of a bitch.
I'm
like a
gonna
naked
get
gun.
I'm gonna get you. They're like face to face,
They're
like
like- they're like-
6 inches away apart from each other.
I think we remake this movie, by the way. we have them all be on a very tiny field.
I have to shoot you because it's in the script. I'm gonna reload the gun.
Each time they do a maneuver with the reloading the gun, they move a chess piece.
Oh, that is definitely Naked Gun there.
Yes, it is.
No,
Or
you're right. I
airplane.
mean, they're like 20 yards, maybe
Probably
more.
20 yards. Yeah, I'd say 20 yards. I mean, enough that if you were to try and run it, the guy might reload faster than you can run it.
He's got
And-
enough time to put the charge in
And that's one thing I think some of the editing, it's also some of the costume design. Like, I found it every once in a while, I found it difficult to figure out who we were pointing at, even though they made it very clear the red guys are versus the blue guys, right? Like, it's once in a while, the cut that the camera angle they would have, or the cut that they would go to, I'm like, who are we focused on right now? Hold on a second.
or the militia.
Oh, or the military. Yeah, they
Yeah.
throw that in there. So every once in a while, it would throw me as to who exactly we were
No, I
focused
agree.
on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It wasn't
especially
often
towards
that
the
it didn't
beginning.
happen. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, especially. Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, I think that actually shows the progression of the war.
Right. I was going to mention
because
that.
at the very beginning we didn't really have a continental army
Right.
with uniforms, and we weren't really blue. It was straight up militia.
Yes.
And farmers with pitchforks.
Well, and some of those people did fight for the British Army.
Yes.
In their past.
Yeah,
So
so they
they
did
had
have red
uniforms.
coats.
So they did have red coats, and
Yeah.
some of them wore
Right.
the redcoats.
Well, I mean,
But-
Mel Gibson's character, Benjamin Martin.
Yeah, he had one.
He served in the British Army and fought against the French.
Yeah, we see Thomas putting it on
Right.
at one point.
I just
Yeah.
want that fucking hatchet.
The
I'm
hatchet
sorry.
is cool.
I just want that hatchet.
You do
Like,
have one of those.
I have a ton of hatchets. I have a ton of big ass knives,
But
but
you
I
want
want
the
that
specific one?
hatchet. I want something that says the ghost on it. I just think that's badass.
You probably
man.
know a couple people that could.
Oh, I'm sure I could get somebody to
Whittle
make
something.
it. I just don't want to pay for it though. I'm so cheap. I'm like the cheapest guy. Out of 4 people in this room right now, I'd challenge any 2 of you to get together and be like, we can challenge you to a cheap off. No, you won't. I will be more frugal than any 2 of you together.
Well, you know who also is cheap? Benjamin Martin, because he doesn't.
What a segue.
Because he uses his son's toys to make bullets.
So it's not cheap.
No,
I know.
It's
Oh, okay.
symbolism.
Well, so it's symbolism, but I will say that back then there was a commodity on
Right.
the metal. I mean,
Right.
the metal wasn't super available,
And like
that.
lead,
So
you
had to
couldn't-
do what you had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, these little tin soldiers. Would that do the same kind of damage?
Yeah.
Yes,
Tin
because it's,
bullets versus what were they made
No,
of?
I think the toys were actually lead.
I think the toys are probably either lead or pop metal.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Pop
realistically,
metal.
once you put it into a little BB size shape like that, and you load it down a barrel, and you put a bunch of powder behind it, yeah, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It'll
it may
kill
not
somebody.
kill you, but it's gonna. I mean, well, it may not. I mean, depending on what kind of caliber you're shooting, but I mean, it's gonna hurt. And if you shoot
Which-
somebody in the head like that, yeah, they're dying.
We did some research, wasn't it? 44 to 64 caliber.
I don't remember what the caliber
Yeah,
was. I just remember like
We were measuring like the length of like muskets, and it was what 54 inches to 70. 70 inches.
to 70 was the
Yeah.
typical.
I've seen a 70-inch
Which is
musket.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen a 70-inch musket before. That bitch is ridiculous.
And then add a 15-inch bayonet on it.
yeah,
Yeah, and
you're
they're-
basically carrying around. You're basically carrying around a flagpole at that point. Like you're like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna joust you if I can't shoot you.
And
like,
forget hiding behind rock. It's like I can still see you.
Yeah, and I think they said that they weighed anywhere from like 7 to 10 pounds,
Yeah.
or something like
there
that.
were some that were heavy. That's 70-inch ones. Those are heavier.
That's got to be
Yes.
on the heavier end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
All
were
that
saying,
wood.
yeah,
And metal. It's a lot of metal, man. A 70-inch barrel. That's well, and that's
Well,
the barrel's not 70 inches.
54-inch barrel.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
barrels
Something
are not 70 inches, but that's
Or
still
40.
a ton
40
of
inch.
metal.
Yeah, 40-inch barrel. Anyway.
Still a ton.
But I was also curious about what the distance was on there, because a lot of these battles that we see in this movie,
They look close.
it looks very close, especially on the wide shots. It looks like they're 15 yards, 10 yards away from each other.
Yeah.
Well, there was a reason for that too.
and then here comes cannonballs in
Yeah,
between.
and cannonballs
them.
in between them.
yeah,
Um,
there was a reason though too, because those guns didn't have us. I mean, they'll shoot.
They were inaccurate, is from what I know.
That's what I was gonna say. Rifling wasn't really a
thing,
thing at the
yeah.
time, and I mean, I think they'll shoot.
They-
I could be wrong. I could
they said-
easily
they
be
said-
wrong on this.
they
They
said
said
about
100
100
to
yards.
200 yards.
Okay, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say about 100 yards.
Yeah, they said a
Accurately,
really
right?
good sharpshooter could do about 200 yards.
Exactly. So I was going to say 100. So 100 yards though, but at 100 yards, you might not hit shit. Like you
Right.
might shoot and be like, cool, mountain.
Well, especially when you have to turn your head 180 degrees because of the
The plume of
Because of the
smoke. Yeah.
flash.
So you got that distance. There were two things happening though. You got that distance to have a chance at a better shot, but then what also happened is you made yourself a better target.
Right.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, they just treated people like they were, I don't know, just about the lowest form of commodity.
Oh yeah.
So
let's march this row of people into this volley of fire.
I mean, the
And then just
tactic
stand there.
of that.
Wait your turn to return volley.
Yeah. Well, the tactic of that is to actually have 2 or 3 rows, and then the first row would fire. They would bend down or duck
Right,
or something
yeah.
like that, start to reload. Then the second line would start to fire, and then they would start
And then
to
you would
reload.
replace
and
men
then
as-
they would reload, they would start to stand up, and it was a continuous motion of fire in a well regimented line.
It always reminds me of
But
that.
it never did that. I've never seen that in a movie before where it
actually works.
actually works. And I don't know if that's true. I don't even know if I've
There's
read
probably
any historical documents of saying this in particular was effective. But who knows?
I mean,
I
we
like-
fought
I like
wars
Benjamin
for a
Martin's-
long time like that.
Yeah, I like Benjamin Martin's tactic of just being the ghost.
Well, that was
Yeah.
that's what the in the French and Indian Wars. It's one of the reasons why. I mean, realistically, it's one of the reasons why the side that won was because the British, because they
Yeah.
were they had teamed up with the Indians who essentially were doing guerrilla warfare.
Right,
And
exactly.
that's why he brought that in, because, or why he was able to bring that in, is because he had seen that tactic at, work, and he's like, I mean, this is just stupid. Like, what we're doing, walking into gunfire, is just the dumbest shit possible. Like, I understand respect and all that kind of stuff. That's great. We can respect each other whenever you're dead. How about
exactly.
that?
Right.
Yeah.
John, did you find I think you found the axe.
I did. I found the axe. I found the the replica tomahawk.
How much?
$150.
Oh, that's nothing.
I know, right?
I might get one and just carry it around.
You can have it here as early as September 30th.
Ooh.
Before this show is released.
Dang.
I like it. If you see me on the street, I'll be swinging a tomahawk. Okay, don't approach from behind.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna be slinging it around. If you get in the way,
I am in rare mood. I apologize to everyone who's listening. Or maybe you're having a great time.
Eddie's about to go on a rampage.
I think I did earlier.
Just because he's excited.
Yeah, I took a short nap actually. No, actually, since we're talking about the guerrilla warfare style, so Mel Gibson's character is a conglomeration between two real life people during the Revolutionary times. It's modeled after Francis Marion, who was known as the Swamp Fox, and he was responsible for teaching militias guerrilla tactics, basically.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that we see in the movie is what he taught as tactics to militias. But the other person that he's modeled after is a South Carolina militia leader known as General Andrew Pickens. And so Pickens had his estate burned down by the British. The British shot his son. And then he went back into action and led other militia forces.
Which is pretty much what Benjamin Martin...
In the Battle of Cowpens.
It's like, that was his role.
Right.
As he was that guy.
Yeah, he was basically that guy, and they threw in some of the Swamp Fox aspects of it.
Just from South Carolina.
Fair enough. Again, overall, I mean, back to away from the history for a second, just talking about the movie, the thing I think I like the most about the movie are the characters that they use to develop. Like the little pieces that they bring in. I like the fat dad who's got the cute daughter who ends up dating Heath Ledger. I don't remember names.
I do like the side story.
Yeah.
The ink and the tea.
Yeah, all that little...
That was cool.
It's cutesy stuff, but I mean, it's stuff that I feel like they...
Well, it's connection building.
It is, but I like movies that develop character. Now, I'm still bitching that the actors themselves were flat. I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but I do like that they took time to build texture. I like texture. I want to see... You can have two people on screen the whole movie, but if I know everything about these people by the end of the movie, and I feel like, at least within reason, like within what is necessary within the scope of the movie, and I feel like you've given them both life, texture, etc., I'm going to be happy. Like, that's what I want. I want to not feel like I'm watching a stage play where... Opera is the least interesting thing to me. I just have no interest in it. I can't watch it.
You don't necessarily like Wes Anderson movies.
I do.
Because
I do like
those
Wes
characters
Anderson.
are the most flat.
No.
Like the dialogue that they're given.
So you guys hate The Life Aquatic.
Yes.
I
don't think I've ever seen it.
Okay. You?
Oh, it's horrible.
It's
See, I don't mind it. And the thing that I like about it is that Bill Murray's character in particular has all this like anguish about his friend that died. And there's all this like extra stuff. Now, granted, it's all through the lens of Wes Anderson's nutty, I just drank a whole bunch of LSD and now I'm going to sit down to write a script stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like that there's layers built into each character. It's not just, talking about Independence Day, it's not just Will Smith who is this fighter pilot who says things like "Welcome to Earth," and then has a stripper girlfriend who also has no business knowing the first lady somehow. It's just whatever. It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. That being said, they do, even in Independence Day, they do give it a shot to build texture. They just don't do it in a great way. The Wes Anderson movies, like Royal Tenenbaums, for instance, I like those characters. I think they're all quirky, weird-ass characters, and I like how he tries to give them life. They're in a weird-ass world, but life. Same thing, like I said, in here in the Patriot. I like that they gave the dad and even the little touch with the mom, who you only hear talk one time in the movie, and she's like, honey, come to bed, and then he's listening at the wall, and she's like, don't worry, I sew better than my mother did. And he's like, I hope,
right?
You better, or something. Whatever he says. I like that. I like it. You can see that these two people have been together since she was a young girl and he was, Heath Ledger's type character, and they both banged it out whenever her mom thought they were being safe. I think that's
she's not as great a sewer as she thought.
Exactly. I think that's funny. That's all I can say. I just think it's funny. The preacher tending his flock, and
the reverend
tending his flock and going out, and when they all burn in the church, man, I just.
That was hard to watch.
All the
That
characters
was.
that are in the background, I could care less about, but the ones that you know, the ones that actually speak up and talk and stuff, it's it's heart wrenching.
That never happened in the Revolutionary times.
I have no doubt.
There was no record of it happening in the history books or whatever, but it did happen during World War II.
Oh,
With
really?
the Germans.
Oh, really?
Germans did do that.
Well, the Germans, the assholes.
Yes.
So, I mean, I completely understand I understand that that's a bit of an anachronism then, but I do think that because they had developed their characters, or a lot of their characters anyway, the key ones, if that's what you want to say, we felt something during that scene. If they didn't do that, you wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, if the mother and father and the daughter weren't there,
you wouldn't care. Well, there's the mom. The mom and the son weren't there. There were some other people there that we did care about. I forget who it was. But then also the fact that I
don't remember anybody else that we've met prior.
No, they were really just focused on the family,
right?
The Howards.
Maybe it was. But the guy who actually
Howards, that's who it was.
Yeah.
The guy who actually threw the torch, the loyalist,
yes, Baldwin.
guy.
Baldwin. Yeah, Adam Baldwin, which
Adam
is
Baldwin,
Captain Wilkins.
Yeah, you hate him.
Yeah.
You hate him with every passion.
Well, because he's a traitor.
Damn traitor.
Well, technically speaking,
Yes and no.
Technically,
the
he's not a
revolutionaries were
traitor.
the traitors. Yeah, if you really want to split hairs. But
He's the loyalist.
he's
he
a
was the
loyalist.
loyalist.
But I mean, you don't know a ton about his character, but you know enough that you actually physically hate him, and that's talent. That this is by far, between this and Stargate's pretty good, but it's not as good as this to me. This is by far this director's best movie.
I wonder if Great Britain likes watching this movie. Like people that are in
it has
Great
a different
Britain.
title. It's called The Traitors.
It's probably
Yes.
close, actually.
They
I
all
mean,
need to be hanged.
up until the 80s, they were at least still referring to us as colonialists and stuff. So, I mean, just being
really?
real dicks about it. Yeah.
Well, remember, we talked to I don't know if it was us or whoever. I don't know. I talked to a lot of people, but a friend of ours was talking to a transfer student from England.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And she said he's like what's the biggest difference between the schools, and she's like history. I had none of this American Revolution is taught
Really?
in school. It was just like
yeah.
passed over.
Yeah, because it's
just
a
like,
lost cause.
It happened, we ticked them off or whatever, this or the other. And it was like maybe a day of a lesson.
I don't know. I mean, to
Like,
me,
we went over to the United States and lost the war. Anyway,
Yeah.
Well, and then we came
Next
back
up.
again in
But I mean,
1812
it's
and
the
tried
same
again.
way. It's the same way our school system treats the Vietnam War now.
yeah,
True.
kind of.
It's just like they just skim
yeah,
over
we
it.
went
and it's
over
like,
to Vietnam,
Yeah.
and-
We went over there, and then this happened.
it's just weird to think about because Google exists. It's a thing.
Yeah,
So-
but Google exists. But if you ask people about the Korean War, I bet you most people don't even know it happened unless they have a grandfather or something who served in the
Right.
Korean War.
Yeah.
Like that. Talk about a forgotten war. By the way, the Korean War is easily jumped over, and
Yeah.
we're still
The
technically
100 Years War.
we're still dealing with it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Korean War.
it's not over.
North Korea still exists. South Korea
Yes,
exists, and
supposedly
there's still a
It's
military.
only
just
an
a
armistice
ceasefire.
agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's not a.
Yeah.
Technically, it's still going on.
You're
Yeah.
right, and yet people don't know about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, if you were to ask people how many wars has America been in since its inception, the number I imagine would be like 4. They would say World War I. Oh no, I'm sorry. They would say the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I,
And
World
World War
War II, maybe 5 if they remember Vietnam.
Question: is this the first Mel Gibson movie that we've done?
I think so.
Is it?
I think it
so.
is.
Yeah.
I think it is, yes.
Huh.
I can't think of another one that we've done.
Not off the top of my head.
No.
No. It makes me want to do Payback though. Payback's a pretty damn good movie.
Either that or We Were Soldiers.
We Were Soldiers is another
That's a
freaking.
damn good one.
Okay, now that's a great example. You compare the characters in We Were Soldiers to the characters in this movie, and I'm sorry, but Mel Gibson is not wooden in We Were Soldiers.
No,
even
he's
whenever,
not.
even whenever he's like, mean. What is it? Whenever he's like mean grilling, he's
Mean face.
What's it called? Yeah, he's like staring out over there. He's like broken arrow, like that shit. He still is doing he still has emotion, and whenever he's hauling ass across those fields and he's diving in with everybody, and I mean,
It might just be the period.
It could be the period. I'm not saying it's not, but
Yeah.
it seems like the director said, "Hey Mel, this guy had an emotion. He was actually alive."
You saw a lot of emotion from Mel Gibson when he was chopping that guy up, though.
I agree with you. Mel Gibson has more emotion in this movie than not, but the times when he's wooden, it really makes
Yeah.
it awkward to me.
I tend to agree there.
Yeah. So I don't know. Are we
Well, I was curious about the French general, that you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Major Villeneuve.
Yeah.
I was curious to see, like,
Oh,
I don't remember that
was he a
character.
real dude?
Well, I don't know if he was real or not.
No,
but he wasn't.
No, he was basically the Lafayette.
Yeah, he was basically the
character.
Marquis.
He's based off of
Marquis de Lafayette.
Okay.
Okay.
because Lafayette was over. He played an integral part in training our troops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
So
makes
I was
sense.
just curious if that was if that guy was real or not, or if they were just. I don't know why they didn't just use Lafayette, but I guess because he wasn't running around militias.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
chilling with Hamilton.
Well, and the same goes back. Always goes back to Hamilton.
Nice.
But the same also goes for him when I talk about texture. You know, the British showed they showed the British. Hold on, the British showed the.
You
French.
almost had it. That was
I know.
a good one.
The British did not show the French the same whenever
Courtesy or
courtesy whenever they burned my wife and daughters alive.
Alive.
While I watched from 200 yards away. Like I'm like, oh my god, how awful!
Yeah.
Like you can see them and they're burning on a boat, and you get to live with that for the rest of your life. I mean, yeah, I'd be one to kill them all too.
Which that guy that plays the French, he's
Chucky?
Yeah, he's actually a really like up there French actor.
He is, but he was also in The Core, which
Yes, he
doesn't
was.
exactly say a lot. So was Stanley Tucci.
I
So was a
like the
bunch of
core.
other people.
I like Aaron
Okay.
Eckert. I like the core.
2 words: Hillary Swank.
I liked it. Well, I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not. Look,
going to the center
look,
of the earth.
I'm not. I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm saying it was an enjoyable film. It's a movie I can sit back and watch, and it's the smart people fix the big problem.
I mean, I
like
was
that
just
movie.
gonna say Horseface, but
Yeah.
my God, you took it to a next level.
What was the argument on The Office with Hillary Swank where they're like, is she beautiful or is she sexy or something like that? And Kevin just keeps going back and forth. He's like, listen, she may be beautiful, but that doesn't make her sexy. Like, he just keeps going back and forth.
Well, real quick, let's talk about the R rating of this movie.
Hold on one more second about Hillary Swank. In The Core, when they got stuck underground, when they were stuck and they couldn't move, I was like, just let her chew her way out. Like, she'll get out.
Oh man.
Good Lord.
There's
Sorry
no
for all
stopping
the
her.
Hillary Swank fans out there.
So the rated R. I forgot this was rated R until
Kind of for good reasons.
until the first decapitation. Right.
You know, my wife, because I knew it was coming up. You know, like when the cannonball was skipping or whatever. I knew that scene was coming up, and like right when the cannonball hit the head, she was like, "Wow, I don't remember that."
Yeah, and then one of the next the big battle at the end, we see a guy's entire leg get
His leg
Yeah.
chopped
Oh my
off.
God.
chopped off.
I mean,
by,
it doesn't look like the cannonball's going that fast to chop off a leg, but I guess it had some momentum. But you know,
Things are heavy.
okay,
my
yeah.
God.
Well, I have a piece of
well-
one from the Civil War.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry. I keep going back to The Core.
Dear God.
Oh, Lord.
Unobtainium is the stupidest name for a mineral ever. And they reused it in
In
Avatar.
Avatar,
They
yeah.
used the same dumbass name.
Hey, it's a sequel. Hello.
Whoever was watching Avatar was like, God, we can't come up with a name for a mineral. I just watched The Core, sir. Unobtainium? Sounds perfect. Like, what a stupid name.
But I know
That was the name that was what the cannonballs were made of, as they
Of the
shot off the
unobtainium.
heads.
Unobtainium. Wow.
Go
Well,
ahead.
I know that they used like real amputee extras and actors.
Oh, yeah, okay.
For
That makes sense.
for some of those things.
I'm glad.
I'm not sure where they got the headless.
Listen, no
Person.
jokes. Some of those guys are actually veterans, and I will say that I'm glad, and I'm not kidding. I'm very glad that they can find work that, like, as actors, that they can find work that really fits what's going on with their bodies. Because I mean, that's pretty awesome that we want to see war epics, we want to see all these things, and it's like, you know what? There's going to be scenes where
Oh, yeah.
body parts have to go flying. Well, we need amputees. We need people who, and maybe even kind of double trouble here. We need amputees who also have military experience because we're doing war movies. Win-win. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I'm
You
really
pay them
glad.
one salary, and
Yeah, and we get them as like consultants too. We're
Right,
like, hey guys,
exactly.
we want to do this, and they're like, we would never do that.
Well,
why
Roland-
would we do that?
well, Roland Emmerich, he was pressured by the production or by the producers to cut the decapitation shot out of the movie.
That's pathetic.
But
Oh, wow.
he argued that he did not want to sanitize war, or he said that movies should not sanitize war.
I wish he had done that with movies like The Day After Tomorrow and 2012 and about 50 other movies that he's done. I wish he would have had that set of balls that apparently he had for the Patriot.
Those cannonballs.
I wish they would have continued over. Yeah. Instead, he's like, I want to do a movie about the end of the world. Well, what's it going to be about? Jake Gyllenhaal in a library. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, Has nothing to do with anything.
Well,
the weather's coming, guys. Like
a couple other things I wanted to mention real quick is so Kevin Spacey was the first choice to play Tavington.
No, wrong.
No, just wrong.
Just wrong. No.
yeah, all the obvious jokes aside, I don't think he was cut out for that role.
No.
If you know what I mean. So no.
I cannot imagine Kevin Spacey on a horse.
Well, you know what they made them decide to go with Jason Isaacs?
No.
Because they paid Mel Gibson $25 million,
Ooh.
and they didn't have enough money in the budget for Kevin Spacey, so they started looking for cheaper actors.
It's like, hey, Mr. Isaacs, would you like to, be in this movie and play pretty much the villain for $25,000? Sure.
No.
I feel kind of bad for Danny Glover. Danny Glover could have easily played the John Rippey character, the guy who was the slave.
Mm-hmm.
He could easily have played that character, and I'm glad that they didn't. Though I feel bad.
He
for
was
him in
too
a way.
old for that shit.
Well, no, but here's the thing. They probably didn't because they were like, we don't want to make it Lethal Weapon.
Right.
Like you can
Mel
never
Gibson
have
and
you can
Danny
never
Glover.
have them in a
Yeah.
movie without them being like, oh, it was kind of like Lethal Weapon, but they survived an apocalypse, or it was kind of
They
like
could've.
Lethal Weapon, but they went camping.
Actually,
They could do it if they
wanna see
if
that.
They could if they acknowledged it. If they did something like
like use the music.
Well, no,
And
like they don't know each
Revolutionary War
other.
movie.
Like the sexy saxophones.
Like they don't know each other.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you look familiar, and
Oh,
they
no,
like they acknowledge it like
no.
that. Yeah,
I don't
no,
want them to do
I love
that.
I love that kind of stuff.
No,
Yeah.
see, not to me. This movie's far too serious. Now, if you want to put him in Naked Gun, the Naked
Yeah.
Yeah, far too serious. Eating dog.
or Hot Shots.
Okay, that was a funny
It's far
thing.
too serious.
I agree with you. There was some comedy there. Well, they have to do some comic relief. It's like,
Well, like they do it in Hot Shots with
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen and his dad.
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
I loved you in Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's a ridiculous movie though too. But also you're talking about comedy in this movie. I like the scene whenever they take over the gunpowder ship and there's like a big explosion.
Oh, yes.
When they're rowing away and
Yes.
they're like, you look good in red. He says something to the French guy. He's like, you look good in red. He's like, it stinks. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, it's had a dead man in it.
Yeah.
like, I thought that was
That's Mel
Pretty
Gibson
good.
humor.
yeah, it was funny. I liked it.
Well, one more thing.
Yeah.
So Harrison Ford declined the role of Benjamin Martin.
heard that,
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
The reason he declined is because he felt the script basically boiled the Revolutionary War down to a one man's revenge story.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think Harrison Ford was short-sighted in that, but I'm glad that he didn't sign on.
He
'Cause
was-
I think Mel Gibson did a great
He was
job.
too busy filming Indy 18 or something.
No, he's too busy filming 6 Days, 7 Nights, which is the worst movie,
Yeah.
I think, in the last 30 years. With Anne Hesh, as they both try to pretend to be into each other. Like, give me a break. I've got an idea. I'm a pilot, and you're a sexy, I don't even know what the hell she was in that movie. Archaeologist or treasure
I don't
hunter
think I've ever
or
seen that movie.
damsel in distress. I don't know.
Oh,
Pathetic movie.
I forgot about one more thing that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Okay, so the scene when Ben Martin and Cornwallis,
Yes.
and he returns the dogs to him, so the first time that
Yes.
these two people meet.
More
right?
humor, by the way, with the rocking chair, John. Go ahead.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. I love the
Yeah,
rocking
I
chair
love
scene.
the rocking chair. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's little subtle
No,
jokes.
no, I agree with you. I
Yeah.
like the little subtle joke. John's the one saying it goes too far, but go ahead.
No, he did not.
Well, I
That
thought
was
that's what you
you.
said. I thought that's what you said.
No, you said that.
No, I said I don't want it to go too far. Had it been Danny Glover and they would have given each other the Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen nod.
Oh, that's where
that would have been too
that's
far.
Where that was too far. Okay,
Yes.
that's the line.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
That's the humor line.
I
over
loved
the
you in
line.
Lethal Weapon. That
Well,
would have been
no,
the line.
I didn't say
yes.
that line. It's just like you look familiar. I was,
I'm getting too old for this shit. I've heard that before. Like,
Yeah, when he's standing up there on the line.
yeah,
know.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of it's only
6 more months.
6 more months. It's like,
and then I'm retiring.
What about what were you saying about the Cornwallis scene? Sorry.
So the scene when Ben they first meet Cornwallis and he brings the Great
Dogs,
Danes
yep.
back to
Yeah.
Cornwallis. So apparently that is a story
Mm-hmm.
that really happened to a degree.
Yes.
So basically, it's a story about George Washington. So during a battle, Washington reportedly noted that there was a terrier of a British general wandering the battlefield.
Oh,
Which
okay.
is kind of nuts
Interesting.
to think about. So then he subsequently negotiated a ceasefire. Both sides stopped firing until the dog was returned to the British commander.
Oh, that's sweet. He had a soft spot for a fur baby.
Interesting.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
we already established that he should have just ate it.
Remember Cornwallis and the officers. You know, you got to treat them with respect.
Yeah.
You can't kill them.
Yeah, I hear you.
Stop targeting my officers.
Right.
Getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Can,
Right.
can you imagine our soldiers just running amok without proper gentlemen as leaders?
Well, what I like though about that, honestly, is that is their mentality.
Yeah,
back
that
then.
was their thing.
And I liked how they worked it in, and I liked how Benjamin Martin was like, "Well, no, and here's why: because they keep, they keep murdering civilians, they keep doing this, they keep doing that." And Cornwallis plays stupid, and he's like, "I haven't got any reports of that." And meanwhile, everybody in the room knows that that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I like that. I just like that sort of etiquette thing. And he's like, unless you would like to invoke first, that back and forth, the
Yeah, do you
parlay
have
rules,
grievances?
yeah,
Yeah.
the parlay rules, etc. I liked how they worked it in because it was seamless. Like I liked that. I thought they had good chemistry too, for both being nothing alike at all ever.
Yeah.
Probably.
And what is the extremely fat gentleman called?
Yes.
Cheeky fellow.
One one portly gentleman or one portly lieutenant who called me a cheeky fellow. Yes, exactly.
So, what do we cost in this?
Oof. Yeah. The budget of this film.
But we know at least 25 million.
We know at least 25 for.
I know
For
we're not
big-
guessing.
for
I know
big
we're not
mil.
guessing, but I'm going above 20.
That's a little under a quarter. So $110 million.
I went 120. I would have overshot.
Yeah, $110 million. So did this actually make its money back?
Yes,
I say so.
Okay.
twice over.
You're damn close.
Really?
Yep.
$215 million.
Ooh, I was $5 million off.
Yep.
I'm on today. I need to do more of this. Whatever this is. What is this called? Crack? Okay, let's do it.
Nope, it's just called energy drinks.
Yeah.
called Bang.
I need to bang more often.
Okay.
Exactly.
The drinks, energy drinks.
Right,
Jesus
right.
Lord.
Yeah,
Come
of
on,
course,
guys.
of course,
Yes,
of course.
I was being honest.
So let's talk about the scores then. So I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes here. So right now, The Patriot, the audience gives it an 81%, and the critics give it a 62%.
I knew the
a
critics
little
were gonna be
further down
lower,
than I
yeah.
thought they were going to go.
Well, if we're honest with each other, guys, let's be honest with each other. I think we can do that. You've known each other long enough. It's not a great movie if you look at it through a critical eye. If you're looking at it for something to watch that'll be fun and kind of be like, hey, I want to watch a fun, American Revolutionary War movie that we also see a bunch of kids die in, and but we also see a bunch of British assholes get their heads chopped off. It's not a bad movie for that. But if you're going to sit back and try and make it about something more than what it is, it's not a great score. So I think the critics are right in that personally.
Oh, speaking of score, I totally forgot John Williams did this.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh,
There were some little snippets of Harry Potter and little snippets of Jurassic Park in there.
I kind of agree with Jurassic
Yeah.
Park.
That's like, wait a minute. So I've heard that before.
There's a scene where they're doing something in the woods, and I was like, "There's dinosaurs."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
welcome to Jurassic Revolutionary War. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
well, I think
Revolutionary Park.
my wife was in the kitchen and she was like, "Wait a minute, who did this? Who did the score?" I was like, "John Williams, of course." And she's like,
Jeez.
"Okay, I thought I heard something."
That's funny.
That's familiar.
That's really funny. Yeah.
Well, Kyle, this is your movie, so
Yes.
you get the honor of going first for the screenwriter score.
Yeah, so The Patriot, I think the overall, like the critics, why it's so low for the critics is just because the actual history of this film and like the storyline didn't exist. I mean, there are some characters that do exist, like Cornwallis, and I mean that's pretty much it. The rest of the cast is almost a conglomerate of other people.
Yeah,
that
are made up entirely.
just a mesh of random people. But I think as an entertaining movie to kind of like it's almost like an intro to Revolutionary War history. So if you're into looking at Revolutionary War history, start with The Patriot.
Maybe that was the target audience. Maybe they wanted to get more people to.
And I think that's why a lot of these,
Check out.
like with the war films and stuff like that, I think that's some of the reason why these stories are told is just so they don't die. And, it's like you need to actually have some films out there that are enjoyable to watch, but not so, I guess, documentary-esque.
Deep in
and just
history,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, this guy was like really good at battle tactics, and it's just like, okay, I'm dead asleep. But if you add some cannonballs decapitating humans, it's entertaining. So I think I mean it was shot pretty well. The editing, this is like the first time I've seen this, probably over a dozen times, but this is the first that I've seen those little jitters.
The afterthought slow-mo.
The afterthought slow-mos, which I'm starting to see more and more of with these older films, like pre-2000 or around 2000. I think, it's just the editing style, and I just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna give this a. I'm gonna give this an 8.9.
8.9 for Kyle. Okay, John.
If you go into this movie thinking you're going to get a history lesson, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
You're going to get a drama based in history, a fictional drama based in history, and that I think is where a lot of the critics are getting hung up, is the fact that they went into it looking at the historical side of it versus the actual storytelling side of it, and I think the storytelling side of it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I agree that some of the characters are stale, that they're not fully fleshed out in places that they need to be. I think the costuming, it was phenomenal. The lighting was great. I didn't have an issue with the lighting.
This was the first film that the Smithsonian was involved in with making sure that costuming was correct.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
well, there you go.
I
No
didn't
wonder
know
it was
that.
good. I feel they did a really good job capturing the essence of the Revolutionary War. That being said, it does have some faults for me when it comes to filmmaking, like the jittery bits and pieces, and some of the audio, at least to me and my deaf ears, was a little was a little too low at times for me. Maybe it's because I was hearing the gunshots or whatever.
Stop it, John. You hear him. You heard what he said.
Right.
Go ahead.
But overall, I really like the film. I think this was a great cast to put in a film like this. And I remember growing up, the first time I saw this film, our Lafayette character, the Jean Villeneuve.
Yeah.
He was my favorite character. He was just so different than everybody else, and I looked him up, and I looked him up at Lafayette, into looking up Lafayette. And
Right.
So yeah, I was one of those that, okay, I watched this movie, now I'm going to go learn about the Revolutionary War.
If I die, I'm going to be dressed well.
That's right.
That's probably his best line.
Yeah. So I'm going to give this film, I'm going to give this a 7.4.
Okay, a 7.4 for John. Yeah, so this is probably my fourth or fifth time I'm watching this movie. It's not a bad movie to watch every couple of years, I think. It's been a while since I've seen it, though. I did notice this time around the afterthought slow-mos that you were talking about, Kyle.
Yeah.
And it did stick out to me on this watching. I don't know if I necessarily agree that all the characters are really flat.
Not all. I didn't say
Well,
all.
no, okay, you're right.
God,
not
Don't
all.
Put words in my mouth. I'm doing
No, they're
fine
wooden.
with that.
Wouldn't. No, I like I said, I really like Tom Wilkinson in this as Cornwallis. I like Tavington, the Gabriel, basically all the main players.
Main players. Yeah.
I thought they all did an excellent job. Yeah, the cinematography is pretty good, I think. I think one of my favorite shots is when Gabriel comes to that house that's been ransacked, and he goes upstairs and he looks out
That was
the
pretty cool.
window, and the
It goes out.
it
into
goes
the
up. Yeah,
battlefield.
obviously it's green screened, but I love the coloring that they do of inside the house. It's all dull and gringy and nasty, but outside in the field, it's all bright colors and green. And
I think my favorite is actually when they're outside of their house and they see the gunfire coming through the trees.
Yes, I was going to mention that too.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
I really like that
Yeah.
shot too, and the way that's
It's
choreographed.
kind of foggy out, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I like this movie too. I think I'm gonna give it. I'm just gonna give it a straight 8.
Okay, so overall, I will say I like this movie. Okay, I've watched it. I don't know, 30 times. I think I've seen it a ton.
Jeez.
Well, it's like Enemy at the Gates. It's a historical fiction that's rooted somewhat in history, but it's not so rooted in history that you can't tell that they're telling a story, that they're not like reliving
Right.
the entire lives of like historical. What was it? Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
It's not a Hidden Figures type movie. This is, hey, we're making a story that happens to exist in real times, and we're going to use some of those real events to tell that story.
That's a term we're coining now, I guess, right? Anytime a movie is not as
When it
historically accurate as possible,
when
or
it-
when they portray it to be
Yes.
historically accurate, we're going to call it they hidden figured it.
Yes. When they say that it's going to be like Apollo 13, Hidden Figured it.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Exactly. It's the same fucking thing. Braveheart, Hidden Figured it. Okay. They're like, we're telling you the story of William Wallace. No, you're not. You're telling a fucking whole nother story, but you're putting people who didn't even live together.
They
Anyway,
didn't hidden figure Apollo 13.
it wasn't 100%. There's some change ups in that. The main stuff is true.
Yeah.
The main stuff is true. I'm with you on that. But so was parts of, well, no, you're right. You're right. They should have Apollo 13 Hidden Figures.
Yes.
There you go.
That's-
That's better.
Back
Yeah,
to back
You
to
mean shot it into space?
Just flip it.
fucking anything.
Shot it.
I'm still pissed about Hidden Figures. I'm sorry. Okay, so back to this movie. So, but the reason I bring up Enemy at the Gates is that, to me, Enemy at the Gates is a solid, again, historical fiction, right? There's elements of it that are true. Vasily Zaitsev exists, etc. Same way that, this Benjamin Martin character is a conglomeration of two different people who actually did exist. So in that respect, though, the thing I liked about Enemy at the Gates versus The Patriot is that The Patriot did not do a good job in all of the slow motion stuff.
Yeah,
like you
right.
pointed out at the beginning. I'm 100% with you, Kyle. Like they just slow motion the shit out of this movie, and I didn't realize it. I mean, as many times as I've seen it, it didn't really bother me. But watching it with a critical eye, it does kind of bother me. It does bother me that for some reason they're like, what's cool? Slow motion. It's not that cool. Stop doing it every fucking 12 minutes. There's a slow motion flag waving at one point, and then whenever he's running across the field at the end, more slow motion flag waving. Like, I agree. Now, here's the difference. I do agree that this movie is patriotic, although it's called The Patriot. It's obvious. I do agree that it makes me hate the British. I do agree that it makes me wish that I could somehow defend my country. And I do, as a father, of course, I'm affected by all the child deaths, and just it's awful in that way, and at the same time, strangely beautiful. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I do think they do a good job. I just think that the shitty director got in the way of this movie being better. You know what I mean? I think this movie could have been amazing as like a Schindler's List level seriousness, or the Tom Cruise movie where he's got one eye and he's trying to kill Hitler. Valkyrie.
Oh, Valkyrie.
Valkyrie level.
Yeah.
Had they gone at it from that angle, like still same characters, same type of stuff, but done it at less like a TV movie and more like a real cinematic masterpiece, a real epic. We're going to be 3 hours and you're going to live in the Revolutionary War. I would give this a much higher score, right? But they didn't do that. Instead, we want cutesy characters who every once in a while crack joke. Like, it just loses something. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? It loses something. It's the Revolutionary War as told by Tim Allen. Anyway, and I like Tim Allen, but he's got
More gunpowder.
But he's got Home Improvement under his belt. I'm sorry, it's a little cheesy. That being said, for me, this movie is a 5.5.
5.5 for
And he really liked that movie,
God.
folks.
Wow. Fantastic.
Is that your highest score?
No,
For my movie, yeah. No.
that's not true.
not true.
God.
So with,
I like this. Look, we're both in agreement.
No, yeah.
I will watch this movie with you today, but as a watcher, not as a critic. If I'm critiquing it, if I'm trying to critique it, I've got to be honest. It's not that great. There's fucking holes, man. All those slow motion shots. They need to.
Lots of holes. Pew.
That guy needed to figure something out with those slow motion shots. Though. Like seriously, there's a problem.
I mean, I
there.
the
understand.
movie's actually only 20 minutes long.
Yeah, right. Like I mean, you save a whole 5 minutes if you just play it back at regular speed.
Well, I do understand, like, during the battle scenes, the battlefield scene at the very end, why they slowed it down.
Yes.
Because it's a fight between Benjamin Martin and Tavington.
Immortal enemies. Yes.
There's a whole war going on around them, but
Mortal.
it's a personal war between the two of them.
Yes,
Right.
I agree with
So
you.
that
Yes.
slow motion in certain aspects, fine.
Yes.
But don't slow mo other scenes that
the rest
really,
of the movie.
that really don't matter.
I agree. I'm
Yeah.
with you 100%. So
So with that, the Screen Riot score for The Patriot comes out to be a 7.5.
Perfect. That's a good score.
Yep. So now we need to spin. All the hosts are back up on the board.
Everybody's here.
So we need to spin to see who's going to be picking next week's movie.
And here we go. It's me.
there we go.
John.
All right. So we need to pick what category you're going to be picking from, or what genre.
Genre.
All right, here we go.
Jesus, that gets me every time.
Western's gone, right?
Yeah.
Western
thank
is
God.
gone.
He got Western too, didn't
Yeah.
he?
Animation.
He's the only one that has Western.
Jesus.
This is the 4th season of Screen Riot.
No,
I
I haven't
think
picked 3 Westerns.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you have.
You picked the Shootist. You picked the Cowboys. You picked Tombstone. You picked what was the first season?
I can't remember. But anyway.
Well, we've only done 3 whole seasons.
Yeah.
So
but
yes,
there's been
it's,
4.
It's only been you. Well, yeah, there should have been 4. What's the first one that we
Well,
did?
we're on season 4.
I know.
Yeah.
But you just
Which
picked Tombstone.
It was
Oh,
the
yeah.
first one.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
It was Tombstone, Shootist,
the Cowboys.
I have picked Tombstone, the Cowboys, and the Shooters. That's it. In Western.
Oh no, you had Western in the first season, and that was that stupid.
Oh God,
Oh,
you're right.
that's
The Warriors
right.
Way.
The Warriors
awful
Way.
Warriors
That's
Way.
right.
Again, the only reason I picked it is because it was a different take on a Western. I admit it was a crap
yes.
movie. I'm with you. Go ahead,
It
John.
had,
Sorry.
It had some. Good
All right, so
quotes.
John's had 3 out of 4.
Yes.
There you go. And one of them was shit.
Okay, I am going to pick one that me and my family enjoy, and I laugh pretty hard in it, and it tugs at your heartstrings too.
Oh, great.
It's a 2015 Inside Out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that movie.
It's rated PG, and it is about a young Riley is uprooted from her Midwest life and moved to San Francisco. Her emotions, joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness, conflict on how best to navigate a new city, house, and school.
I was gonna say this is the one with the emotions running around,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to follow along at home, go to justwatch.com, look up Inside Out, and you can see all the places that you can either stream or rent the movie. And then come and check us back out next Saturday. And with that, we'll see you guys then.
See ya.
Bye.
See you.
Later.